The Department of Civil Aviation asserts in its press release of March 23rd, 2015, that it wishes to, and I quote, dispel the impression given that there has been a deliberate attempt not to pay air traffic controllers for their work on public holidays, and that union officials are aware that payments are in fact being processed to facilitate those payments. BATCU would like to draw a reference to the following facts. 1. The Department of Civil Aviation, under the direct responsibility of the Ministry of Transport and Aviation, and by extension the Bahamas government, has violated and continues to break the law with regards to how it compensates its workers their wages, withholding earned wages for extended periods, despite the previously mentioned legal maximum of 1 month. BATCU has not and cannot enter into an agreement for compensation of wages for overtime exceeding 1 month, as such a position would be ultra vires, and it is in contravention to the law, and therefore cannot be enforced. 2. The condition of non-payment of air traffic controllers for public holidays has exceeded 15 years and calls into question the employer's stated position that its intentions were not deliberate, particularly when there are others within the Ministry of Transport and Aviation subjected to similar breaches of the Employment Act. Initial investigations outside of the Ministry of Transport and Aviation have indicated that there are others throughout the public service experiencing similar breaches of the Employment Act as those within the Department of Civil Aviation. Thirdly, the Department of Civil Aviation is also advancing that by paying you monies you've earned, monies you've worked for, monies legitimately owed to you over an extended period of time, that they are operating in good faith. Unfortunately, this is a flawed approach to the employer-employee relationship. The Department of Civil Aviation further states, and I quote again, prior to the December meeting, the practice was to award members of the bargaining unit 10 days public holidays leave at the beginning of each year. Additionally, persons who worked on any holiday were granted an additional day's leave, along with a day's pay. BATCU is prepared to table documentation proving the department's statement to be a false representation of what is actually occurring. Additionally, the practice described by the Department of Civil Aviation is in contravention to the Employment Act, as there is no provision for time off in lieu of monetary compensation. I reiterate, for the sake of all employees, excluding those within supervisory or managerial positions across the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, that there is no provision for time off in lieu of monetary compensation. As highlighted again in Section 10, it states, where an employee is required or permitted to work in excess of the standard hours of work, he shall be paid in respect of such work at a rate of wages not less than A, in the case of overtime work performed on any public holiday or day off, twice his regular rate of wages, and B, in any other case, 1 1/2 times his regular rate of wages. The Department of Civil Aviation, in its current press release, referencing past compensation and outstanding compensation, is seeking to advance an emotive position to garner public empathy for the department's continued breach and disregard for established work standards as defined by the Employment Act of the Bahamas. To date, air traffic controllers who in many cases have received acclamation from the department for assisting in facilitating record aircraft movements during the Christmas season, and who ironically celebrated January 12th, Majority Rule Day, away from their families in service to the aviation industry, while yet having to be compensated. Based on initial estimates, the outstanding money accrued over this period and owed to the approximate 100 members of the bargaining unit is $51,000, or approximately $500 per person over 4 holidays. BATCU is demanding that the outstanding matter be addressed in line with the Employment Act and that the structural framework be put in place to allow the Department of Civil Aviation to operate within the parameters of the law. Aviation is a highly technical field, and as 80% of aviation accidents are attributed to human error, BATCU takes its responsibility with regards to providing a safe, orderly, and expeditious aviation product seriously. The current administration of BATCU has made it its mantra to be open and transparent with the media and our aviation partners with regards to our current and ongoing industrial disputes with the Department of Civil Aviation. We are reasonable people who understand the burden we shoulder with regards to this country's tourism product. We put it to the press and Bahamian public, however, that it is irrational and irresponsible for the Department of Civil Aviation to continue to ask the members of the Bahamas Air Traffic Controllers Union to bear this burden while our employer willfully violates the employment rights of our members that are enshrined within the Employment Act. As governments are subject to the law, the Department of Civil Aviation is not above the law.
Okay, any questions? You gonna speak? You gonna speak?
Hold on one second,
Hold on.
one second.
You gonna speak?
Mr. Ferguson.
The president of the TUC is gonna speak.
I just want to make it abundantly clear that the Trade Union Congress, all of its affiliates, are in full support of the air traffic controller's position. We believe, and the law is very clear, where you work in excess of 40 hours on a normal day is time and a half, and on public holidays is double time. That should not be an issue. And it specifies when the payments ought to be made. 1 month following that, the payment ought to be made. It is not an unreasonable request.
Precisely.
It's one that I consider to be very reasonable. Can't take 6 months, 7 months, 5 months after you would have worked the overtime to make the organization function. And then you come back and you say, well, the process is delayed because the computer isn't working, or this person didn't file it on time. What would have happened if that worker did not show up to work on an overtime? So we join with this union. And the president has done a magnificent job in articulating all of the relevant sections.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes.
So the public can see it is not an emotive thing. It's a legal issue and it's a factual issue. So we call on the government to move quickly and having this matter resolved, because it will be good for the air traffic controllers, good for the union, good for the TUC and all of the affiliates, and for that matter, it's good for the public, because these people have a very serious job.